I remember after my anagarika ordination, I went and looked, especially after my little tuft had gone, I went and looked in the mirror and went, oh my goodness, I look like a thug. I used to have very long hair, and it slowly got shorter as my monastic aspiration got stronger, which I think happened for many of us. But to see a freshly clean-shaven head was quite a shock to the system. And it was easy, it's like, oh, this is the hook to the attachment to how I look. And as I continued through as the months passed living at the Abbey and living in community, I could see various levels of just grasping arising, or these attachments around, oh, I'm worthy because I do this. Oh, I belong because I can do this. I think in the first few months, Venerable Damcho went away to study Tibetan and needed a replacement with some video things for a month. And I was so happy to finally have something I could call my own. I have a role. I belong now. Grasping, holding. And it really came down to a sense of wanting some external validation of I am worthy or valuable because of this. And that is, of course, very, very painful and not going to work. And I remember at one point hitting a wall and asking Venerable Tarpa for some help. And we were walking down the hill on a walk, and she asked me, what do you base your self-confidence on? What is a valid basis of self-confidence? And I went, I had no answer, and I didn't even understand at that point that the issue was about self-confidence. It was kind of like a penny dropping of like, oh, is that what this is about? And 5 years later, I think I'm still chewing on this issue of what is a valid basis of self-confidence, and what am I looking to fill that hole? And it's been interesting in the last few years where it's been beautiful to see many more young monastics and anagarikas coming to the Abbey, and this is really a source of joy and fulfillment, seeing this is the future of the monastery going forward in terms of having people with being able to carry the Abbey and the tradition forward. And it has also been a huge trigger for my comparing and competitive mind, and have forced me again to look at this question of what do I base my self-confidence on? Because I've noticed again and again and again the feeling of being threatened. And it's been very interesting to clearly identify that evaluation or that sense of like feeling threatened in my mind, because of the evaluation of being less than. I've heard it said, and I think Venerable Kunka likes to raise this, that sometimes Buddhism is about not figuring out who we are, but who we're not. And I think when done in a skillful way, it can be very helpful. But I think I've been practicing that in a wrong way in terms of looking at what I don't have and perceiving lacks. And so, and perceiving that in relation to the other people that I'm living with, in terms of, oh, I'm studying Tibetan, but I don't also have the Chinese or the Sanskrit. So I can't do any work for 84,000 like Venerable Damcho is, because I can't do the whole process on my own. Lack. Oh, I don't have a nursing degree, so I can't really help with community care or have like a solid like role or something to offer. I don't have a lifetime of PR experience to be able to direct the fundraising or the inviting generosity for the Buddha Hall. I don't have, a wildlife degree that can help with grounds. I don't have 10 years plus of like hands-on experience with audio, even though I'm the head of the video team and don't really know what I'm doing. I can't code and write for websites to be able to like put all the stuff online. I'm not an architect, so I can't help, plan meta or cabin or shanty cabin or the Buddha Hall. I don't have. I'm deficient. I have nothing to offer. And I can see the stupidity of that, but the habit is so strong that the thoughts keep arising, and I'm having to work with how to transform that mind so that I'm not reducing myself and others that I'm living with into bodies that perform functions that I'm using to assess my self-worth against. And the beauty of living in community is that it's too painful to live like that with such a mind that I've described 24/7. Yeah, it's because you're all my spiritual friends, and I see your beauty. It's precisely because I'm seeing your beauty that the self-centered mind comes out and wants to, takes it in a different direction. Yeah. So it's how to see the beauty of others and the skills that they can offer, and see that as enriching everyone, as a gain for everyone involved. And then to come back to that question of like, what is a valid basis of self-confidence? It's not what I do. It's in terms of it's not roles and responsibilities and tasks. It is what I do in the sense of I can base my self-confidence on ethical conduct, on the precepts that I hold, on the kindness that I'm cultivating, on my bodhicitta intention, on the wisdom, and I think as Venerable Tarpa suggested, around Buddha nature, the potential that I and every other being can become Buddhas. That is a valid basis of self-confidence. That is not how I'm navigating. That's not the default mode of navigating or relating to others that I see as a strong habit. And so I'm sharing this. I don't think I'm the only one who works with that comparing, self-deprecating mind. And coming into monastic life or exploring it, we are stripping away so many layers of identification with how we look, how we relate to others on a personal level, whether that be intimate relationships or just friendships and family, what roles and responsibilities we have, what we have defined ourselves in terms of the degrees or the careers or the hobbies, interests that we've had. And we strip that away, and then what are we left with? What are we grasping onto? How are we going to esteem ourselves to continue on this path where we're not trying to build up something, but rather take it down, so that the focus that is so much on me can actually be then turned out to others with the mind of how can I help? How can I be of benefit? And to move away from the focus on the 8 worldly concerns, particularly here, attachment to praise and reputation, and pleasant things as well, in terms of feeling good that, I have a place, I have a role, I'm valued, all that kind of stuff, to actually really practice Dharma. And related to that, which is, I think, an area that is just coming onto my radar, in terms of where does self-acceptance fit into that piece? In terms of seeing, okay, I see the flaws and the afflictions in my mind, and how can I accept that and still have self-confidence in what I can offer in terms of the good qualities that are there, and move forward with a happy mind? So I encourage you to explore that question of what is a valid basis of self-confidence, and see how that could enrich your practice, and keep the focus on really practicing Dharma and not practicing the afflictions.